How you think about objections will create your success or your failure in handling them. Now, today I'm going to share with you my favorite overcoming objections quotes to help you shift the way you think about objections. And our most successful clients tell us that when they make this shift, it makes a huge impact to their bottom line. Now, if you like this content, make sure to click the subscribe button so you get notified by the little notification bell in the corner. If you like this content, hit the like button. And of course, ask any questions that you've got in the comments below this video. So overcoming objections quotes. I want to share with you some of my favorites because I want to help you shift the way you think about objections. So we'll just start here with slide 1. Every sales has 5 basic obstacles: no need, no money, no hurry, no desire, no trust. That was by Zig Ziglar, and I think I've got a couple from him in here. And really, this is very true. If they don't have a need, if they don't have any money, if they don't have any hurry or desire or trust, they're not going to buy. Now, most of the time, money is a false objection. Occasionally it's true, but we certainly can't help them create the need either. Those are 2 areas that are just outside of our control. Same with no hurry. But desire, if they've got a need, if they've got the money, and they are actually, feel like they've got an urgent want for the product, then you can help build the desire with them by handling the sale properly. But you've also got to build trust as well. And so I really like this quote because it's very good in helping you understand what you need in order to make a sale. Now, the next one, when a buyer or seller gives you an objection, he is presenting you with an opportunity to close. And I like this one because most people get scared when an objection comes up. An objection is a natural part of the sales process. They're interested enough to share with you that they have a concern or a thought about your product or service that's causing them not to buy. And if you can help them understand or shift their perspective around that thought, then you can help them enroll, you can help them buy. And in order to do that, you've got to actually understand that objections are not a no, they're just a concern or an opportunity to help them actually make a shift. The next one, you can look at sales objections in 2 ways. They are either a step on the way to closing a deal, or they are open pits of flaming tar blocking the way to your bonus. It depends on your state of mind. That was by Matthew Bellows, co-founder of Yesware. Now, I really like that because, again, it is just a step on your way to closing the deal. So many people, the second that they hear a question or a concern at the end of a sales call, they just assume that that means it's a no, and oftentimes they just give up. And many times they give up in total frustration. But when you ask questions and you isolate the objection and you understand what's really going on, you can help them move forward. So again, a simple shift that can help you close a lot more sales. Treat all objections as requests for further information. Very much the same thing. And this one's by Brian Tracy. And again, that's all it is. And I want to share with you these different but similar quotes about this exact subject because I want you to make this shift for yourself. Objections are not scary. They're not flaming, pits of tar. They're just really requests for further information. They're requests for clarity before they buy. And if you think of them that way, you can help them get the clarity and then help them to make the choice to buy. The next one, getting objections means you're getting through. This is from skewersharing.com. Getting objections means you're getting through. Absolutely right. If the person truly has no interest, then they're just going to say, yeah, no, not for me. But instead, they're giving you an objection, they're sharing with you a concern, they're trying to decide if this is for them. And they can't make that decision if you're thrown off by their objection and you just are unable to help them get the clarity that they need to move forward. Now, I've mentioned this in other videos. I hate this quote, but I also want to share it because it is so true. Buyers are liars, and it's not because they're bad people. And it's really important that you respect and honor the people that you're going to be working with. Whether they buy or not, the process of discussing with them and potentially talking to them about your product or service, you want to treat them with respect, and in doing so, you earn that respect yourself. But the reality is that buyers, whether they mean to or not, often do lie. And sometimes it's because they don't even they don't even have that clarity in themselves. Sometimes it's because they're from a place of fear. Sometimes it's because it's from a place of ego. But you've got to ask questions to get to the root of what's really going on. Because if you don't, and you just take them at their word, then you might find that they're actually getting in their own way. And you can help them get out of their own way by asking clarifying questions. And so handling objections, a big part of that is asking clarifying questions. And in my objections handling PowerPoint video, you can find more information on exactly how to deal with that. And I talk about this very specific quote, buyers are liars. The next one, sales are contingent upon the attitude of the salesman, not the attitude of the prospect. Now, this isn't really specifically an objection handling quote, except that, again, if you're afraid of objections, then you're not going to get the sale. And that's part of what we're talking about in this quote, is that sales are contingent upon your attitude as the salesperson. Whereas the prospect, if you're handling the call right, a prospect can come to the call very standoffish with their wall up and very much unwilling to give you anything. But if you know how to handle that and ask the right questions and put them at ease and build trust because you've got the right attitude, then you're going to be able to make those sales more often than not. So the sale is not contingent on how the buyer shows up. The sale is contingent on how you lead the call. And that's why I like this quote. The next one, remember, people don't believe it when we say it. They believe it when they say it. And this was by Sherry Levitin. Now, this is really one of the reasons that when we're on sales calls, we don't just preach at them about how great our product is. We don't make it all about us. We make it about them. That means we ask questions. And this is why when we teach our objections, we always use questions in the objections handling phase. Because you could try to convince somebody all you want, but when you ask a question, they have to actually shift to a different part of their brain to think of the answer. So you take them out of the fear state, you ask them a question, they now have to think about the answer to that question, and in removing them from the fear state, you've actually changed their state. But also, when you say to them something, they now go back into their head and they try to decide if that's true or not. But when you ask them a question and you get them to say it, because you ask the right question, well then they're making that shift on their own. So it's really important that we use questions throughout the sales process. 80% of your sales calls should be you asking questions and then maybe sharing the shifts once you understand the situation to help them buy. But really 80% should be them speaking, 80% of the time it should be them speaking and you should be asking the questions. So if you're asking questions, and then that's about 20% of the time. So this is 80-20 rule. You're speaking 20% of the time, they're speaking 80% of the time. And that 20% is you asking questions and connecting the dots for them on the shifts they need to make and why they haven't been getting the results before. The next one, what appears to be an objection can immediately be turned into a solution opportunity of creative thinking to solve the problem. What appears to be an objection can immediately be turned into a solution opportunity of creative thinking to solve the problem. I love this because that's exactly it. They're presenting you with a concern that they've got. You just need to help them shift their perspective to overcome that concern. Again, a great way to think about objections. So many people tremble with fear when somebody voices a concern or an objection at the end of a call. You don't want to be one of those salespeople because if you are, you will lose every time. Now, the next one I like, and this goes back to the 80-20 rule. I kind of misspoke when I said it there earlier, but 80% of the time the prospect is talking, 20% of the time you're talking. So this quote is, the first person to speak loses. Now, this is true really in negotiation, but in general, at the end of a call, when somebody does come up with an objection, or when you do give the price, you want to just stop and let them speak. Give them a chance. And whenever you're in any kind of negotiating with any kind of prospect or client, you really want to make sure that you use silence as a key. So that's why I like this quote. The next one by Thomas Fries, the questions you ask are more important than the things you could ever say. Again, very similar to the one from a few minutes ago. I just can't stress enough how important it is to ask questions. Do you want the silver bullet objection killer? then why didn't you ask for it in all that pre-pitch banter? I love this. It was an anonymous quote, but I love it so much I had to throw it in here. Do you want the silver bullet objection killer? Then why didn't you ask for it in all the pre-pitch banter? And that's the reality. In order to handle objections, you have to uncover their big why. You have to uncover what it's costing them, and the cost of working with you has to be less. Okay? The cost of working with you has to be less than the cost of their problem, because if it is, then they're going to buy. Now this next one by Zig Ziglar is the last one, and I really like Zig Ziglar, and I like this quote. If you believe your product or service can fulfill a true need, it is your moral obligation to sell it. And when it comes to objections, so many of us give up as soon as we hear an objection, whereas you need to have total conviction and total certainty about your offer so that you can handle that objection and you can allow the buyer to borrow your belief. So if you believe your product or service can fulfill a true need, it's your moral obligation to sell it. That's by Zig Ziglar, and another one of my favorites. Now, if you liked this content, make sure to click the subscribe button so you get notified by the little notification bell in the corner every time we produce new content. Click the like button so we know you enjoyed this content and we can create more like it. Make sure to leave a comment with your thoughts or questions, and if you would like more information or to work with us or to learn more from us in our free community, our Facebook group, click the link below in the description box.